Long before I ever saw the red robes of a Maasai warrior moving across the golden grasslands, I had heard whispers of their history, stories carried by wind, cattle bells, and the memory of generations. The Maasai are a Nilotic people, their ancient ancestors believed to have journeyed south from the Nile Valley region many centuries ago, perhaps from areas that today lie within South Sudan and northern Ethiopia. Their migration unfolded slowly, like a river finding its course. Guided by cattle and the rhythms of the land, they traveled across the Great Rift Valley, settling eventually in the wide open savannas of Kenya and northern Tanzania. For the Maasai, history does not live in books, it lives in voices. Elders recount stories beside evening fires, passing knowledge down like a sacred inheritance. In their stories, the world begins with Enkai, the supreme deity who resides in the sky. The Maasai say that long ago, Enkai gave all the cattle in the world to the Maasai people. To outsiders, this might sound like myth, but to the Maasai, it explains something essential: their profound bond with cattle, the animals that shape their economy, identity, and worldview. As centuries passed, Maasai pastoralists spread across enormous stretches of East Africa. By the 1700s and 1800s, they controlled vast territories. Their warriors feared and respected across the region. European explorers who first encountered them wrote of tall figures wrapped in red cloth, carrying spears and walking with the confidence of people who belonged completely to the land. Even today, when the Maasai appear on the horizon, moving silently through the tall grass, it feels as though time itself has slowed. Maasai land came at sunrise. The sky over the savannah glowed pale orange, and the horizon seemed endless. Acacia trees stood scattered like quiet sentinels across the plains, their flat crowns silhouetted against the morning light. Somewhere in the distance, cattle bells chimed softly. The Maasai homeland stretches across the Great Rift Valley region, covering parts of southern Kenya and northern Tanzania. This is a land of sweeping landscapes, vast savanna grasslands, rolling hills, dry riverbeds, occasional volcanic mountains, wildlife-rich plains. Some of the most famous wildlife reserves in the world lie within Maasai territory, including Maasai Mara in Kenya, Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, and Ngorongoro Conservation Area. Here, lions roam the plains, elephants move slowly across the horizon, and herds of wildebeest thunder during the great annual migration. Yet, for the Maasai, this landscape is not merely scenery, it is home. Every hill, watering hole, and grazing ground carries meaning. The Maasai are traditionally semi-nomadic pastoralists. Rather than settling permanently in one place, families may move seasonally to follow grazing lands for their cattle. This movement is not random. It is guided by deep knowledge of rainfall patterns, grass growth, and the health of the land. To walk with the Maasai across the savannah is to realize something remarkable. They read the land the way others read books. When I first approached a Maasai settlement, called an enkang, it appeared almost hidden within the landscape. From a distance, the homes blended with the earth itself. An enkang is usually arranged in a circle, forming a protective enclosure around a central space where cattle are kept at night. Thorny branches are woven into fences surrounding the settlement, keeping predators like lions and hyenas away from the livestock. The houses themselves are called manyatas. They are built primarily by women, using materials gathered from the surrounding land: mud sticks, grass cow dung, ash. At first glance, they appear simple, but step inside and you realize how carefully they are designed. The structures are low and compact, protecting the interior from strong winds and intense sun. Inside, small rooms serve as sleeping spaces for family members. Fireplaces burn gently, filling the interior with the smoky scent of cooking and warmth. The environment shapes everything about Maasai life. Rainfall can be unpredictable, and drought is a constant concern. Water sources are precious, and grazing land must be managed carefully. Living here requires patience and deep awareness of nature's rhythms. Nothing is wasted, and every decision, from moving cattle to building homes, is guided by centuries of ecological knowledge. In Maasai culture, food begins with cattle. Cattle are more than livestock. They are wealth, status, and survival. A family's prosperity is often measured by the size of its herd. The traditional Maasai diet is built around three primary foods: milk, meat, blood. Milk is consumed daily, either fresh or fermented. It is nourishing and deeply valued. One of the most fascinating traditions involves the collection of cattle blood. Using a small arrow, a Maasai herder carefully pierces a vein in the cow's neck, collecting the blood in a container. The wound is then sealed, allowing the animal to recover unharmed. The blood may be mixed with milk and consumed during ceremonies or times of illness. Meat is eaten less frequently and often reserved for special occasions. Historically, young Maasai warriors, known as Morans, also hunted lions as a test of bravery. Though lion hunting has largely disappeared today due to conservation laws and changing attitudes, the stories remain part of Maasai identity. Watching Maasai herders guide cattle across the plains at sunset is unforgettable. The rhythm is slow and steady, a quiet choreography between humans, animals, and land. One of the most striking sights on the East African plains is a Maasai warrior walking across the savannah, wrapped in brilliant red cloth. The traditional garment worn by Maasai men and women is called the shuka, a colorful cloth often in shades of red, blue, or purple. Red is particularly symbolic. It is said to represent bravery and also helps deter predators such as lions. Adornment plays a powerful role in Maasai culture. Beadwork is not simply decoration, it is a form of language. Maasai women create intricate jewelry using tiny beads arranged in patterns of color. Each color carries meaning. Red, bravery and unity. Blue, the sky and rain. Green, land and health. White, purity and milk. Yellow, hospitality. Necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and elaborate collars often shimmer in the sunlight, creating moving patterns of color. Ear stretching is another traditional practice. Large, decorated earrings hang from elongated earlobes, symbolizing beauty and maturity. To see a group of Maasai dancers jumping rhythmically in full beadwork and red robes is like witnessing a living piece of art moving across the landscape. Family lies at the center of Maasai society. A typical household includes parents, children, and extended relatives living within the same settlement. Community bonds are strong, and decisions are often made collectively. Marriage, traditionally, involves negotiations between families rather than individuals alone. Cattle are exchanged as bride wealth, symbolizing respect and the union of two families. Maasai society historically allowed polygyny, meaning a man could have more than one wife. Each wife typically has her own house within the enkang. Children grow up surrounded by stories, songs, and daily responsibilities. Boys often begin herding cattle at a young age, learning the skills needed to guide animals across vast grazing lands. Girls learn from their mothers the arts of beadwork, home building, and household management. Elders hold special authority in Maasai culture. Their wisdom, shaped by years of experience, helps guide the community through challenges. As evening settles over the savannah and stars appear one by one, spiritual life becomes more visible. The Maasai believe in Enkai, the creator and supreme deity who resides in the sky. Enkai is both powerful and mysterious, sometimes benevolent and sometimes capable of sending storms or drought. There are two aspects often described in Maasai belief: Enkai Narok, black Enkai, associated with rain, fertility, and blessing; Enkai Nanyoki, red Enkai, associated with drought and hardship. prayer, gratitude, and respect for nature form part of daily life. Spiritual guidance is often provided by a traditional religious leader called a Laibon. The Laibon may act as healer, prophet, or advisor during important community decisions. In the quiet of the savannah night, with only firelight flickering against the darkness, the Maasai worldview feels deeply connected to the sky, land, and animals around them. Maasai life unfolds through a series of ceremonies that mark the passage from one stage of life to another. One of the most famous is the warrior initiation ceremony. Young men transition into the status of Morans, warriors responsible for protecting the community and herds. These ceremonies are filled with singing, dancing, and storytelling. The Adumu, sometimes called the jumping dance, is perhaps the most recognized Maasai performance. Warriors stand in a circle while individuals leap high into the air, their bodies rising almost effortlessly. The higher the jump, the greater the admiration. These rituals strengthen community identity and celebrate courage, endurance, and unity. Today, the Maasai world is changing. Population growth, government land policies, and the expansion of national parks have reduced traditional grazing areas. Climate change has also brought longer droughts, placing pressure on cattle herds. Many Maasai communities now balance traditional life with new opportunities: education, tourism, conservation, partnerships, small businesses. Young Maasai may attend schools while still maintaining strong cultural ties. Some communities work with wildlife organizations to protect lions and other animals while also protecting livestock. Change is not always easy, but the resilience of the Maasai people remains remarkable. As my journey among the Maasai came to an end, I realized the greatest lessons were not found in ceremonies or traditions alone. They were found in perspective. The Maasai remind us that wealth does not always mean accumulation. Sometimes it means connection, to land, to animals, to community. They show the value of living with nature rather than dominating it. They show how stories, traditions, and shared responsibility can bind people together across generations. And perhaps most of all, they show that even in a rapidly changing world, identity and culture can endure like the acacia trees of the savannah, rooted deeply, yet bending gracefully with the wind. As the sun set behind the distant hills, the silhouettes of Maasai herders guiding their cattle across the plains lingered in my mind. Not as relics of the past, but as guardians of a living heritage still walking across the great grasslands of East Africa. I expect you to be asleep by now, but if you are not, I'd love to hear from you before you go. What's the most fascinating tribe or culture you've ever come across? Or one you would love to visit someday? Drop it in the comments below, and also let me know where you're watching from. I always enjoy seeing people from different parts of the world joining these journeys with us. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next adventure into the hidden cultures, histories, and tribes of our world. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.